Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet one of the most successful family law attorneys in North Texas. In fact, she was just named to the Inc. 5000 list. Well, quite an honor. Her incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I love to feature people on my show who are passionate about their life. I found my purpose helping people tell their story. And my next guest, she has found her purpose in helping people through really one of the most difficult times of their lives. She's a family law attorney. Her name is Sharon Ramage, and she's with the Ramage Law Group. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. Glad to be here.
And I think what you're doing is just so powerful, because if you really think about the people you're meeting them often at the lowest point of their life.
That's right. No one seeks out a divorce attorney because they're in a good place, and we do help them go through that transition at their worst.
Yes, and you have a background caring for people because you actually started in social work.
That's right. I got a bachelor's degree in social work from University of Texas at Arlington and began working as a social worker with Child Protective Services soon after I graduated.
Wow! So even just seeing those children in the system. Let's talk about how you made that transition into law.
Well, when I was doing my social work internship, one of the first things I did was go to court with everyone. And there was social worker, the attorney, the prosecutor, and of course the judge was in the room. And I was watching what everyone was doing. And I really liked the prospect of being the one that was asking the questions of people, not having to answer them. And so that might be a part of my wanting to control a narrative or control the discussion, but I also felt that I had a lot to offer, and that if I were asking questions and bringing people's stories to life, whether it's in court or just helping them outside of court, that I could really contribute.
Yes, and you were telling me before the show that as a prosecutor, you actually had a victory for a family. It was a child murder.
Yes, I had inherited a case soon after I entered into the child abuse unit, and it was a cold case. It had sat on a prosecutor's bookshelf for 7 years. No one had touched it. I'd been in the office no more than about 10 minutes when a detective hunted me down and said, "Are you Sharon Ramage?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I need to talk to you because we need justice for this baby." And so I started looking at it, and I'd been told by everyone in the office to dismiss that case, that it could not be won. And I actually said no. I could not look that family in the eye and not do the right thing. And so we pulled it together and we tried it. I actually tried it alone because I wasn't allowed to have any support on the case. It was pretty much go do it if you think this is important. And we tried it and won, and obtained justice and a life sentence for the offender, and justice for that baby and her family.
Wow, so powerful. You have a nice promo video for your law firm. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Hi, my name is Sharon Ramage. I'm the owner of the Ramage Law Group, located in McKinney, Texas. As a child of divorce, I know firsthand the fear and anxiety surrounding the breakup of a marriage and the impact it has on children. If you are thinking of divorce or custody of your children, we can help you put your best foot forward. Give us a call or visit us at www.ramagefamilylawfirm.com and let us help you.
And to be named to the Inc. 5000, tell us about that. Was that a surprise, or were you expecting it?
You know, I was hopeful. We had worked really hard. I think it's actually a recognition of our entire team, the trust the clients put in us, and we're a growing firm. We've grown rapidly over the last 5 years, and to be named as one of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the United States is really an honor and a little overwhelming, but we're all very proud and very thankful.
Absolutely. We're going to put your website up, and as we scroll down your website, I want you to brag about the dream team that you've assembled.
We have quite the team. We have, Marisa Balius is my managing attorney, and she kind of keeps everybody on track. And then we have attorneys that specialize in property, and that's their strength. We try to match cases to people's strength, whether it's someone that is really a property guru, or so I call them, to the lawyers that really understand and get into the child issues and the emotional and psychological issues that go through a divorce with children. And then we also have an area of our practice that is special education law. And a lot of times we have overlap in our family law cases where you have families going through a divorce and there is a child with a disability, which is a high stressor on a marriage. And those cases present unique issues in the family law courts. And so we have attorneys that specialize in special education law as well.
Wow. You were telling me before the show about a successful outcome you had for a dad who was fighting for custody.
Yes, several years ago. In fact, this dad came to me, and we were his second firm, and he had been told, you can't get custody. You're not married to the mother. Mothers always get custody. This is an infant. And he was able to see into the future about what the life looked like for her other children, and it wasn't good. This mom had two different dads fighting for custody of children with her at the same time, and he knew the outlook was not good. So we fought. It was a hard fight. I always tell people it may get worse before it gets better, but just hang in there and it will get better. And that's what happened with him. So after a couple of years and some really hard fighting by the team and by the client, we were able to obtain custody for him. And he comes to see me every year now at Thanksgiving. And it's really cool. He brings her, and I can see what her life looks like now, and recognizing how different it is and how different that trajectory is. And we are so thankful that we were a part of it, that she is becoming quite the healthy little human, and he's a great dad.
Wow, so powerful. We're going to show some video from our library of couples fighting and getting divorced. And as we show this video, I want you to talk about the idea that they're coming to you at the lowest point in their life. And so empathy is important, but also being able to be the truth teller is important.
Okay.
So talk a little bit about that.
Okay. You know, I used to joke and say I was the Dr. Laura of family law, because I would just tell people like it was and say, go do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And I've always told people in my firm, whether they're clients, other teammates, attorneys, that our job is to tell people the truth. And a lot of times that's not what they want to hear. But that is what we have to do, is tell them the truth with compassion. It's our number one core value, is speak the truth with compassion to our clients and our team. Well, about a month ago, I had an experience in my personal life where this was really illustrated about how important it was. My mother became ill. She was 88. She had actually had a heart attack and went into the hospital. And people were talking all around us and around her, saying things like, well, we want to keep you comfortable. Do you want to be comfortable here, or should we admit you somewhere else? And, oh, your blood pressure is dropping. Let's put you on this medication. And they were just talking all around the reality. And so at one point, I'd stepped out of the room, and when I returned, she was being wheeled to ICU. And when we get down to ICU, before they're doing anything, I pulled the doctor aside. I was told her blood pressure was not compatible with life. And he said, this is actually considered life support. Well, at this point, she had full capacity. She was cognizant. She was talking to people. She knew what was going on around her. And when he asked me what her position was on life support, I said, why don't you go ask her, because she has capacity. Let her make that decision. And I knew what it was, because I'd been through this before. And I I drafted her physician's directive. And so he went into the room, and with a lot of compassion, he broke the news to her that she was not going to live more than another day, and that they could give her some medication that would extend her life long enough to say goodbye to people. She still had grandchildren to say goodbye to that were en route. And that's what she wanted to do, but let her know anytime you're ready, we will transition you to morphine. And so he stepped out of the room to get ready for the procedure they were going to do on her. And as he stepped out, she was surrounded by myself, my husband, my sister, her husband, friends from her church, and her pastor. And her pastor began administering last rites. And she got to participate in them. She sang hymns with us. She prayed out loud with us and said what she wanted to do, who she needed to say goodbye to before she left. And she took agency over her own life. And it was such a gift to all of us. And I came back and told everyone in the team, if that doctor had not had the courage to go in and say, this is your truth, this is your reality, it would not have given that gift to her or to any of the rest of us. And so that's an event that's a recent event that just brought home to me the importance of being honest and truthful with people about their situations, because it's almost always going to be something they don't want to hear, but you could be opening up a gift for them.
Wow, I can see why you're so wildly successful. We've got about a minute left, so final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
You know, I think what I'd like to leave people with, that people come to lawyers not because they're in the best spot in the world. They're coming to lawyers because they have a problem, and it doesn't matter the type of law. But in family law in particularly, we know that you're hurting. We know that it is a stressful time, and our job is to help take that from you and to guide you and to be the objective voice, but to really fight for you in your corner as you make that transition from one phase of your life to the other. And I tell everybody, when you go through a divorce, you're not ending your family. You're just changing the way it looks.
Wow, great way to end this show. We'll also leave you with her website so you can get in touch with her, ramagelawfirm.com. The great Sharon Ramage. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You bet. That's it for now.
Okay.
We'll see you next time.